welcome to Wertz and Company. When I say that, I'm going to introduce Rob over here. And Rob, you know, I've known your brother for years and years. We won't talk about how old we are and everything, but you know, when it comes to you guys, I know the commitment with Wertz and Company. Before we get into that, though, let's talk about it. How long have you guys been around?
Since 1926. I obviously haven't been around since 1926, but the company has. I've been with the company for 37 years. You know, a lot of our guys are in-house, you know, actually all our guys are in-house, and our main goal is to, you know, provide good service for a fair price, and we have a commitment to, you know, keeping our customers happy.
Yeah. What I want to stress to people is, because I see it and everything else, is the way that you guys do it. Family oriented is very important to you guys. I mean, and that's why when you say keep guys in house, I would say 90% of it a lot of times is family working on the job. So you always got that care going into the job. But a lot of people say Wertz and Company. You know, because you guys, I want folks to understand, you're the professionals of the professionals, the way I call it, because you guys got the majority of contractors come to you guys to get the work done because you're the experts. And when I say experts, we're going to talk first of all chimneys, and then we're going to get into some roofing here too, because that's your main source there. But the chimney work that you guys do, and how it protects that family's home, because you know people don't realize that, you know, chimney gets stuff in it.
Absolutely. We have been around for a long time, and we have developed a relationship with a lot of the HVAC companies around town, almost all of them. You know, the reason why we have a good relationship with them is because we have developed that relationship over the years, and we're committed to doing the right thing. I'm not going to say we've never had any issues. All I can tell you is any issues we have ever had, they've been resolved. They wouldn't be using us, you know, almost all these HVAC guys, if we weren't reputable and if we didn't do the right thing.
And doing the right thing is important, because I remember Bobby and I, your brother, and we'll chit-chat with him in a minute, we were out on a job one day that somebody came in there and they did a lining in this lady's house and took advantage of this elderly lady like I couldn't believe, and the job they did, and she thought it was top notch until somebody else looked at it. I mean, because the people don't know. I mean, and it had all kinds of problems. They literally, you guys had to really redo the whole job.
Yeah, unfortunately, you know, there are companies that, you know, they like to take the shortcuts, and you know, it's all about making the profit. They get in and get out. Whereas I can tell you, you know, there's been many times where we've been called out to review someone else's evaluation of a job, and we'll walk in and we'll look at it, and you know, there's nothing that needs to be done. However, you know, they got a quote for, say, $2,600 to repair the chimney. We do what needs to be done, and that's it. We have enough work, and we have the reputation that we try to protect, and we're not going to do or sell anything that, you know, is unnecessary.
And that's right. You guys, you price it right. When I talk about that, because a lot of people, you know, and I'm being one. I mean, I never thought about my chimney, and you know, you think about, okay, I converted over to gas and this and that, but you got a liner, you know, or you let's say you don't have a liner, and mortar and stuff, that stuff cracks and things, and if you don't have that liner, or if you aren't having that chimney inspected and cleaned on a regular basis, you know, there's more fires that people hear about. It's never going to happen to my house, though. You know, that's the things that people got to understand. And anytime, what amazed me, I didn't realize it, but anytime you put air conditioning, heating, stoves, hot water heaters and stuff like that, that's vented. That's vented, and those things are the things that you want to really have checked out.
It's not all that unusual to come across a customer when we go in to clean a fireplace, and we'll ask them if they've had their heater chimney serviced, and they'll say, well, you know, I'm having my fireplace cleaned. Isn't that enough? Well, you know, the way it works is there's two separate identities. There's a chimney. There's one big chimney, but within that chimney, there's two separate flues. There's one for the furnace flue, and that carries the gases through and up and out the house. And then there's one that vents the fireplace. Two separate identities. And a lot of people aren't even aware that they have a heater chimney. We've had situations in town where, you know, the carbon monoxide builds up in a house because the flue's blocked, and then, you know, people have symptoms of, you know, headaches and nausea, and they'll go to the doctor, And once they get to the doctor, you know, they're out of the house, they're in fresh hair, everything's good, and the doctors say, well, I don't know what's wrong with you. We'll come out to the house, we'll clean the furnace flue, we'll realize that it's blocked, and then there's the answer to the question. The problem had been all along that the chimney's blocked and all the carbon dioxide is backing up, and that's the first sign is, you know, we can smell the odor because, you know, we're trained to smell the odor. But a lot of people, you know, really can't identify the odor. They just know that they have headaches and what have you. So when we go in there and we determine that it's blocked, we unblock it, and all those headaches go away. And unfortunately, a couple of instances in the city where the houses are older and compact, there's been a few deaths from the carbon dioxide buildup. Well, we have been roofing and chimney, you know, experts for a long time. It's not just something we dabble in. You know, we do the roofing and chimney, and all I can tell you is if you call us and you have a need, you know, we can help you, and you'll be treated fairly, and I think you'll be happy with us. We have, you know, a lot of people over the years that, you know, call us back, and we have customers that have called us back that used us 40 years ago.
Yeah, when I was talking about, because I've gone out on some job sites. I mean, I you know, went out and observed some of this going on, and what I was amazed, and some of the people I talked to, was, you know, the homes that are preserved. You know, you're talking about registered homes with, you know, that they call you guys. I mean, and that's, you know, if I want to get the job done, and I always say, if I can hire the best there is, I'd rather have the best. And the pricing wise, when I say you guys are the best, you're very competitive if they're going to do apples to apples.
Absolutely. Price range wise, you know, here would be the bottom, here would be the top. We're probably somewhere, you know, in the 3/4 range as far as pricing. And the reason why our prices are that way is because I pay my guys well, because I want to retain them. I want them to be happy, and I want them to do a good job. So, you know, we're not the cheapest in town, but we're absolutely not the most expensive. You know, we charge what we feel is a fair price, and, you know, most of the time, if we're going to bid against someone, you know, often it's a recommendation from, you know, someone that had worked with us before.
You know, your customer, I've never seen guys that are more. You know, it's like you guys got whips, but they're your relatives that you're beating, so it's all right, you know. But the cleanliness, customer care, that is very, very important to you guys.
You're correct. One of the most important things of a job is cleaning up around the perimeter of a job. And the reason why I say that is because, you know, even, you know, especially with like a flat roof where you can't even see the roof, you want to deal with someone you can trust, obviously. But, you know, it's important to keep the perimeter clean, because that's what the customer sees, and it's kind of a reflection on your company as a whole. So I try to tell my guys, you leave the job better than how you found it. And if you go with that rule, you know, you're going to have happy people, and that's one of the things that I know I can control. You know, I go out to the jobs often, and if I see that something like that's not done, then
I'm gonna get the subject off. I see the steam starting to come out of his shirt as he started, you know. but that's it. That's that passion, that love, and you've been doing it, like you said,
37.
Yeah, 37. I'm trying to, you know, I'm going for 31 there, but 37 years you personally been on it, and you didn't come in this office and say, okay, this is my job. You were out there, you learned it, you know it. I mean, and that's the nice thing about it, is you're the professional of professionals as well when it comes to your guys. So, and your brother, you guys are out there and you're on top of it. I mean, that's that quick if there's a problem.
Yeah, well, you know, I did, you know, start at the bottom. I paid my dues. I started out with Mr. Wertz, you know, like I say, a number of years ago, and he, you know, expressed to me that if I came on with him, he would pay me a little bit more money, and then in the end, if he put me through school and things went well, that, you know, I would run the business and eventually take over the business. And that's the way, you know, it's developed into me being the owner of the company. You know, Mr. Wertz was a good man, and, you know, I think about him quite a bit, because it was kind of like a father-son relationship, because we drove around in a truck every day together. And, you know, he was a really good man, and he had a really good name around town. And it kind of taught me that, you know, I want to do the same thing. When you hear Wertz and Company, I want people to put a smile on their face and say, yeah, I know them. They work for us. And, you know, it's important to me what, you know,
well, you were trained right. You were trained right, and that's what it boils down to. Like you said, the guy, he cared, and you can see the care in you and everything else. But I want to, you got some great guys that, it's like you always have a foreman on, you know, just not, it's not like, okay, here's, send a crew over there, get this done. There's somebody there that's the foreman over that crew, and they're watching over it. I mean, and being sure it's done right.
Yeah, I try to keep good people around here, you know. That it goes with our crew members, and then it goes to our foreman, and then Bobby is kind of like my right-hand man. I mean, I don't know what I'd do without him. And then it's me. And, you know, through that chain of command, you know, there's a couple checkpoints, which help us just, you know, because we are in-house, and we're not drawing people from, you know, all over the place. You know, our guys are, you know I can look the guy in the eye and say, look, you know, this is what we need to improve on, or hey, guy, you know, you did a great job today. Yeah. You know, that chain of command, there's checkpoints within that, in my opinion, it gives us a little advantage.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. Rob, I know you're busy. You got a lot of things going on down. I want to thank you for your time and everything. I'm going to go talk to a couple of your guys out here, you know, that are the guys on the job. I want to talk folks to know that commitment there and what they expect and what they get done while they're on the job. But thanks so much for your time.
It was a pleasure talking to you, and anyone out there that's looking for a roof or a chimney, you know, we'd be glad to at least, you know, talk to you and, you know, help you with your needs.
And it's important I get, you know, because there's one thing to talk to the owner of the company, but there's another thing to get out here and talk to the guys that are on the job site, and that's the most important people that you're going to deal with on a regular basis while they're out there. And it's important to have a foreman on a job. And Billy, you happen to be one of those guys. I want to talk to you, if I can. You know, what takes place on a roof? Because I go out there and you know, it's not just putting shingles on a roof. You guys come out, you got to tear off the old roofs and all that. So work me through the job.
Well, we get out there, we make sure the house is protected from, you know, falling debris, shingles, you know, cedar. I mean, basically, we're all safe. We have our harnesses on. You know, that's the most important part, is to be safe. You know, make sure the guys are doing what they're supposed to do. And
one thing, I don't want to interrupt you, because when I go out onto the job site, I notice, and it's like, you know, you guys come out there and kind of put a plastic all the way around the yard. I mean, and it's important because if people got shrubs and stuff, they're not going to have to worry about later on all of a sudden trying to trim their shrubs or some whatever and find a shingle off in there or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, everything's tarped. We once we get there, we mount a tarp at the bottom of the roof. You know, we drape the tarp over the house. You know, we put the plywood in there first, just in case, you know, something does go through the tarp. So everything is solid. We put a tarp on the ground to where we back our dump truck up once we throw everything in. You know, if we do miss, it happens. It's on the tarp, so we don't have any problems there.
Yeah, and then while you guys are doing all that, you got a guy with a broom and all this other, you know, and contraption, and Bobby showed me, I was amazed at it, contraption that picks up nails, you know, so you're, you know, so the cleanup is important too. But before we get to the cleanup, I want to go back, because now you got the roof tore off, you know. And before you even start, there's another inspection that's got to take place, you know, with looking at, you know, is anything need to be replaced?
Yeah, I mean, we make sure the rafters are sound. You know, we go in the attic, make sure the rafters aren't cracked, you know, make sure they're not bowed. And then, you know, once we get the approval that the rafters are fine, you know, then we make sure the plywood's fine, you know, the rake boards, the trim, the gutter, we make sure everything's fine. You know, then we start our process of putting everything on, you know, paper.
Because it's every day to you now. Now you just said paper to me, and I'm thinking, okay, this guy's going to go. It ain't paper. It's specialized stuff. Yeah. You know, it is now, because and you do it by layers. I mean, there's a couple things that go down there.
Yeah. First, I mean, once that wood's ready, you put the ice and water shield. You put the ice and water shield, you know, basically on the edges of the roof, the eaves, the rakes, you know, anything that, you know, comes out of the roof, chimneys, you know, pipes, valleys. You know.
Now, when you say ice and water shield, what's that to do? I mean, what does that do?
That makes troubled areas 100% tight. You know, the rakes, you know, if you get a hurricane, you know, you get the wind under the shingles, you know, that makes that edge 100% tight. Around the chimneys are troubled areas. I mean, you put that down, and if anything gets behind that counter flashing, it's not going to leak there just because of that ice and water shield.
Yeah, well, I never thought about that, because that's because you do have, when they put a pipe through there, you just cut a hole. You got to seal it up somehow or another. I never thought about that. Then goes this paper stuff, I guess.
Well, it's GAF deck armor. Well, there's a lot of good things about the deck armor. I mean, comparing it to tar paper, it's safer for the guys. It's easier to walk on steeper roofs. It's lighter. You get a roll of that paper, it covers 10 square. You get a roll of the tar paper, it covers 2 square, and they weigh about the same. So it's about safety. It's a deck liner. So if there's moisture in that attic, it lets the roof breathe, so you won't have any problems with water in the attic.
Yeah, and that's important, because that gets me up to, because I always hear about the roof breathing, and people don't realize that houses expand and shrink. They actually breathe. And when you're talking about that, because you got me up to a point where I want to get to, because I always hear the word ridge vent.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, other than ridge vent, you just got to have proper ventilation in your roof. I mean, there's vented soffit, there's attic fans, there's whirlybirds, and then there's ridge vent. I mean, you got to have one or the other for proper ventilation. A lot of people don't have, vented soffit. A lot of people don't have soffit at all. So, we'll cut a strip out of the top of the ridge, an inch by an inch, the entire length, and we'll put a ridge vent on for proper ventilation.
Yeah, and which makes that roof bleed, and then that all you're doing is preventive maintenance is what you're doing as well, because you don't have to worry about that, because wood gets wet, it's pretty much going to destroy itself. So
once it gets wet, it's done.
Yeah.
You get the mold, and then it starts to rot, and you got to get it fixed.
Yeah. Now I notice that now you got all the paper on all that, and that it looks pretty. I'd say sometimes they take the advertisement off the paper before you guys cover it up, but I just like the paper laying up there. But because it's a neat job. I mean, that's what because it is really, and it lays better, I think, than tar paper.
It lays flat. One good thing about that paper is you can have that paper on a roof for 180 days before you lay any shingles. It's watertight. It won't bubble after you nail it. I mean, back in the day, we put tar paper on, we come there the next day and it's bubbled, and we'll have to, take that off and re-tar paper. It's just, it's a better product by far.
Yeah, and there again helps your roof to breathe as well. Now coming into the shingles, because when you talk about shingles, it depends on what you want. I mean, price-wise can range, but applying those shingles is the most important thing, and I've watched you guys. I mean, it's very important, the amount of nails you put in, everything. You're on top of it.
Oh, yeah. A lot of guys use 4 nails, 6 nails, 7 nails. Well, over the years, we've come to realize that, the proper way to nail it, 5 nails. If you do 4, you have a chance of the shingles blowing off or, falling apart. I mean, if you go more than 5, you're running a risk of shooting through the shingle, and then, running a risk of it leaking. So, I mean, there's a proper way to nail it, and it's 5 nails.
Yeah, and you guys are sure of it, and I'm telling you, if especially when they're doing your house, you got to go out and watch these guys work, because it's not. And what I like about it, because it's people that work for Wertz. I mean, they're Wertz people. They're not subcontractors. They're your people. When they're on there, you're responsible for them. Safety is a big issue with you guys.
Safety is a big issue. We make sure all the guys are harnessed up on every job, even if it's a flat roof, it's, safety first.
Yeah, when you talk about that, because you brought up my next question, because we talked about flat roofs earlier and everything else, and you guys are definitely experts with that. And so it's, I don't even know where to begin with a flat roof. Give me some tar and throw it. I mean, there's more to it, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. Well, once it's torn off, like, we run through the same process, make sure the rafters are fine, make sure the decking's fine, and then then we start laying our paper. We lay the base. We make sure that thing's tight, no bubbles in it. We roll out our GMS. It's a cold application tar. There's no chance of us catching anything on fire, with the hot roofs and, such. I mean, it's a good roof.
Yeah, and when it's all said and done, and it's not going to leak on you anymore. If you got one of the flat roofs, especially, I tell you to call Wertz030113. It's worth talking to them. But roofing, it's all here for you. But remember, we said roofing and chimneys, and it's important we talk to Brandon about chimneys and everything. But we want to thank you, Billy, so much for your time.
Thank you.
Last but not least, because these guys do so much and everything, I want to introduce you to Brandon. When it comes to chimneys and liners and stuff, you guys are the experts. I mean, give me an idea. What makes you decide, okay, it's time to replace the liner? What makes all that decision?
Just going up on top of the roof, shining the light down the chimney, evaluating the tiles. Those tiles are like terracotta, kind of like the clay pots that sit outside. When the water gets absorbed into that clay, it starts chipping and flaking. And that's where you have the carbon monoxide.
I never thought about that because when you look at it, it is the same as a flower pot inside there. And when and a lot of people got those type of flower pots. Look at them after years. And I can think of one that's been sitting on my back deck for less than 2 or 3 years, and it's starting to fall apart. So you can imagine what's inside of a chimney.
It's the same exact idea. So,
yeah. Right. So you guys come in and of course evaluate it. It does need something. It's important. I always hear, you guys talking about being sure to put. I didn't realize there was different vent sizes and stuff like that.
Yeah, you just have to check the BTUs, all the specs on the heater, the hot water heater, if that's venting into the chimney as well. You just got to size the liner, to the appliances.
Yeah, because that's what I didn't understand. I thought, well, okay, you've got a chimney going up, the size of the liner is very important, so you get the right flow and circulation going out of there.
That's absolutely right. Yeah, I mean, if you don't have the right ventilation, you can get a downdraft or, whatever, and get carbon monoxide into the house.
Yeah, and that's what we talked about that with your boss, man. Rob was here, so, but I want to get to, if we could, because I was amazed when I came out there, the work you guys do with the stone and the chimneys as far as the bricks and all that, and how you can remove mortar and, and redo things.
Yeah, I mean, basically it's the same idea. When the bricks and the mortar's porous, if the water is seeped into it, you just go in there, grind it out, repoint it, and waterproof it. It's pretty simple.
But what got me the most is when inside the house, because a lot of people got these big stone fireplaces and all this, and they think, well, it's old and it's going to look that way. I saw you guys go into a house where I thought, well, this chimney needs to rip it out, because you guys do it every day. It's kind of easy routine for you, but it just amazed me.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to have a problem for us to come out. If you guys have any new ideas or anything like that, you want a new face of the chimney, new hearth, whatever you guys need, we can do it.
Yeah. So when it comes to chimneys, that's what I want to stress the most, because we talk about liners and being sure the chimney's clean and all that, and you guys do a lot of work when it comes to it with the AV, and contract through you guys, because once again, like I said, the best. But what I was, that to me is the easy part, and not for you guys, but easy for me to watch you do it anyways. Right. But as you're running the pipes down through there, but it's running tubes down through there and all this, and then the hookup inside. I found out something. You got a drop box in there or something. What is that again?
It's a clean out. Basically, they make a galvanized tee outside the wall that hooks directly up into the liner. If you guys ever seen that, you have the cast iron door at the bottom of your foundation in the basement. That basically replaces that. So it's the same idea.
Yeah, I never thought about that. And all this stuff falls out, so it's kind of a way to keep that chimney clean once again.
Yeah, I mean, basically, if you get a driving rain or moisture or anything like that comes down, it falls into the tee. It doesn't ruin your heater. Yeah,
and so it's all important. And I've seen you guys. I've been out on inspections with you, Bobby, and I've seen some different things happening that people take shortcuts. You can't take shortcuts when you're talking about this. You're talking about fire hazard. You're talking about carbon monoxide. You're talking about water getting into the house or into the furnace, whatever the case might be. And you guys just do a fantastic job. I want you, because we got to wrap everything else, tell the people out there to call and have you come out and take a look at their chimney.
Sure. Just call the office. You talk to Mrs. Wertz. I'm sure you guys have our number, 658-5186. Schedule whatever you got to do, and we'll come out and help you out.
Yeah, see, I'm seeing a bunch of these young girls out there saying, call Brandon. Well, we're going to take a quick break and everything, but I want to thank you for your time, and it's time for us to wrap it up and until next time, Brandon, stay off the golf course.
Thank you.
And I want to get over here because before we wrap everything up, I got to be quick because I took too much time and everything. But this is a guy that comes out, and I've never known anybody with more expertise in product knowledge. That's, you've explained so much to me since I've got to know about roofing and chimneys and everything else. But you're the guy that comes out. You're going to come out there. You're going to talk to people. You're going to show them what's wrong.
For the most part, unfortunately, I've gotten stuck in the office quite a bit, but pretty confident in Brandon. He's very knowledgeable. If there is a specialty, then
that's what I'm talking about. When it comes to the expertise part of it, that's where you come into the ball game. I mean, and like you said, you're in the office a lot, but I've been sitting here with you, and all of a sudden a phone call come, hey, I got to go over this job. And that's how I've got educated, because we got to run over to someplace.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So I just want you to see Bobby. This is the guy, and you can see he's pretty fit and everything, and he's the one that got the whip. So, yeah, but you run a tight ship. I got to say, you run a tight. You expect more from these guys than just being there.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel that Rob and I are here to keep up on the knowledge aspect of what is up and coming. Our guys are very, very, very capable of doing the job. Rob and I's role more is to figure out how to develop the business and make sure that everything is being taken care of. We want to be accessible to the customers if there's any concerns that they might have. And like I said, the everyday running of the business. Now, if there is an issue that comes up, by all means, it's not unusual to see Rob or myself out there to make sure what is done is what needs to be done.
Yeah, and product knowledge, being sure that, okay, well, maybe we don't need to do that. We're going to change to this, blah, blah, blah. So these guys don't hesitate to bring these guys out is what it all boils down. It's time for us to wrap it up. Bobby, thank you so much for your time. And until next time, say goodbye to the folks.
Thank you, and goodbye.